to take down some big opponents. But we'll let bygones be bygones for now, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for Spacestation versus Oxygen.
Oh, Sam, this is a fun one to get into. We start on Consulate here for this best of 3, which was the pick of Oxygen. Kind of a weird pick for OXG to go for a map like Consulate. They went here just yesterday against NIP, you'll remember, and they lost 7-4. It wasn't a great showing from OXG. That's one of only 2 times they've played this map so far this season. The other one was a win, but it was against Wildcard back at the regular season, so not really a wealth of experience from Oxygen on this map, but could mean that they have a lot to hide, and they've been really prepping to bring it out for a big game like this one against SSG. They'll ban out both the Clash and the Mute ban, which you don't see very often on Consulate or really any map. One of the best ops in Siege for sure, but gonna be interesting to see how Spacestation try to adapt to that ban.
I really like that, especially with the Mute ban coming in here. It's gonna highly affect how the defense can try and manipulate not only walls, but obviously the information game. And Consulate, I mean, there's been a term that we've used for a long time in Siege, and it's roomitis. Sometimes maps have a lot of rooms, you gotta clear a lot of things. Consulate is one of those maps. You require a lot of heavy lifting from those drones, so having that Mute ban implemented is going to help Oxygen a lot, clearing this map out.
You see the double shield ban from SSG too. That's going to be hard targeting for us too. Is one of those players that will go to the few shield if he has to.
Any shield. If it's a shield, he'll play it.
Yaga's honestly the guy who's been playing a lot more Blackbeard so far on this team. OXG have not had the greatest win rate on attack so far this season, so none of their shields have great win rates from any of their players. But Yaga's been playing a lot of this Blackbeard, something he's really become comfortable with. Expect if they bring double shield or after round 3, if this Blackbeard gets banned, expect to see potentially a little bit of that fuse coming out because Forest is absolutely willing to run it. For now, though, it'll be a top floor take, and despite the Finka, I don't expect it to be a crazy rush strategy or anything like that. It looks like they're just going to go take it through admin, slow and steady. As long as they drone out J9O, this should go okay.
Well, that is the first ask. Yago will be here on the window rappel, waiting to see if he can fly into admin. Does have a couple of people to worry about over towards break/copier. This is always the most difficult stepping stone on Consulate. Getting into the darn building, especially off these windows. That's why you see SSG front-loading this portion of the map. This is the most straightforward area to enter this top floor and try and take down this site.
It's interesting how aggressive they're playing this. We don't see this out of a lot of teams where you really fight for admin for a long time. Eventually with the bees, it looks like J9O is going to fall back. Benja's there as well. He does get caught by the bees and also falls back. So nice retreat from Spacestation. They don't lose anybody on their admin extension.
Very solid, and I think just some good support overall by SSG, knowing their angles well, and J9O obviously using those Kiba barriers up to pretty high caliber there too. They'll be able to peel off and, you know, keep that time sink that they've been able to gather so far as Oxygen will finally get their first foothold on the map.
So I like the send strat. A lot of teams are running this right now, Sam, where they're going to use that to try to cut off the top spiral players, like where J9 is right now, from meeting. You're going to toss it through this doorway, maybe through the drone hole, and you can really isolate the two parts of this map so that they can't work together to go for a stop of this push to create that crossfire. That's going to be the goal from Adam. It's going to be easier said than done, of course, with all this utility still being used by SSG, but that's the plan.
That's a huge find there from Newers, and it's going to make things only more difficult for this offense as they are trying to find any gap, any way in towards this site, but it's just going to be a firefight back and forth. Faros to find one, J9O as well, and then Grixer to get us down to the 3 versus 3 as nobody can make any headway across checkers.
Oh, that's a big pick from Adam, finally grabbing the man advantage now. Just 2 more to find inside the site. It's been scrappy in the vending hall, as it so often is, but now 1 falls back and 1 plays close. Falls is going to have to fall back too, because he knows he doesn't have his teammate support. No toxic babes either, so 30 seconds to go.
That's rough for Yaga, especially with this push starting to come in from the front desk off of Grixer. Lots of good angles here for Oxygen, and a beautiful shot out of Yog. That's the exact moment you want to try and take that fight, and with Newers all the way downstairs, things have all of a sudden gotten very complicated. Still has some ice nades on him as well as that nitro cell, so still has some utility to try and support, but he has a Yogg staring right at him. 1 shot and a potential downed Blackbeard, nitro in hand, but a dead Yaga. And Oxygen, a little limit tested there initially on that clear, but they're able to find a way out of that fire and pick up the first round.
Beautiful game plan coming out from OXG. I mean, we saw this in their opening game too, where they were able to take down Furia in a huge 7-3 win. They were in a very practiced team where they seemed to come in with a great strategy. SSG did their best to disrupt that start, right? They were really starting to fight the players that were walking up spiral stairs. They were going for some aggressive swings out into the vending hall too. It got messy, it got chaotic, but it ended up being mostly even right until that last kill to J9O. Big for Adam to be able to find that, then grab that defuse kit, follow up his Blackbeard player, and start planting so quickly inside of Eating so that even though Newers was below with the Nitro Cell, he didn't have time to deny the plant. That was really good play by OXG where they all went at it together and they got the result.
That round was all about adaptation from both teams, and fortunately for Oxygen's sake, they ended up being the winner in that one. I especially like that once we start to, see them slow down over towards checkers, Jesse, we start to get that, additional player over towards spiral, start adding new angles, start adding more complications for Space Station to have to work through.
So yesterday against NIP, OXG started on the attacking side of Consulate. They won a single round, Sam. So they've at least matched that scoreline now, and if they can keep up the pace from just the first round, they certainly will be looking to better their original scoreline against NIP. Sets themselves up, too, to have a nice second half. They did win 3 other 5 defenses against NIP, but of course we're just in too large of a hole at that point.
I mean, we just get to call him a terrible person for that setup, right? That's, Ashen, I'm just telling you, that's an immediate Alt F4 for me, man, if you kill me with that. That is disgusting stuff.
Oh,
the timing, it happens, man, it happens. I do like that Space Station has immediately changed things up, though. We've got a little electro shuffle going on right here. The ice doesn't make it, though! That's so unfortunate for Space Station. They were trying to leverage that utility from Newers, but it doesn't extend enough through the wall to be able to capture it.
That would have been a really cool strat, but just unfortunately doesn't quite get there. Not 100% sure if that's just based on how he threw it or what. Benja with a Nitro will be able to get a big pick. That might have gone through the window, Sam, to be able to take down Adam. That's a huge angle to be able to find. They were so predictable, OXG going for this electrical wall, and they've really paid the price for it.
A lot of people used to hatches with the Nitro cells nowadays, but not so much just straight through the floorboards and out through the window, and that's definitely a spot right there that you need to take a lot of consideration towards that. Secret, as SSG will be able to claim 1 here, but doesn't mean Oxygen's out of it yet. J9O trying to hold things down over towards that secret stairs. We do still have Yaga persisting over here, and he'll just be able to get some vision. That's the beauty of this Blackbeard. He can go aggressive really whenever he wants to, but he gets to choose it. He can just stare you down and be like, there's some players sitting in sight currently.
They're trying to find their moment. They would really like to pick before they go commit to a big push here. Can't really find it. 2 players still here in the electrical hallway. The other 2, well, one of them dies now, leaving Yaga all alone. They both go down. Diffuse get down to the hall then too. Gomez and Grixer, the last 2 alive, nowhere near their teammates. Grixer's rappelling in top floor, and Gomez is down in garage. So, Sam, they've got 60 seconds. They're going to have to work something out, but do they know where Ashen is? Yes, they do. Get the down and managed to find their first pick of the round. Still way more to go, though.
Yeah, and especially on this bomb site, Jesse, things just get so complicated because you have to worry about every single floor of this entire building. I mean, you immediately vacate that top floor, you try and rotate down, assist your teammate, get a plant down, somebody just runs upstairs and takes it. A little worried here for Folt. Seems like they had a drone over towards Radio, but it's a trade between the 2. It's going to go down to Grixer to try and solve this puzzle now, but it's one that's pretty tough cookie to crumble. So he's going to try and swing in here through Coffee. Not too much going on for him right now. Don't think anybody's really going to give him the time of day. And after that shot, they know where he's entering from as well. It'll be a shot from J9O, and that'll be SSG's first round.
Yeah, again, tough that they couldn't make anything happen through that kind of electrical push that we saw coming through from OXG. That was the brunt of it. 3 players died there. Well, the other 2 really didn't have a chance at that point. I talked a little bit about Yaga playing that Blackbeard. Again, it was his most played operator. I was from up above, not the floorboard, Sam. Still through the window of top floor, though. Big pick. Anyways, I was talking about that Blackbeard pick from Yaga. Was his most played operator back in Stage 1, but only a 33% win rate through the regular season, so it wasn't really something he found a lot of success with. I know he's been practicing a lot with it, and I think he certainly has a lot of potential with this operator, but we just haven't quite seen it from him so far at this event, and that was another one of those rounds where they just couldn't quite get the space with the Blackbeard, and eventually SSG just were able to work those picks instead. One thing they've been really consistent on through these first 2 rounds is they're willing to fight you. Every ounce of space that you want to take as a team, where the brunt of your push is going, there's going to be somebody there slowing you down, fighting you, trading your shots. And credit to Oxygen, they're usually trading them out well. Round one, at least, they traded those kills really, really nicely. But even still, that pressure is incredibly annoying to deal with.
It is, and I think that you kind of got to see the other side of that as well in that last round with SSG. If you get hit hard enough, it's pretty hard to go and find those refrags, because a lot of times people are outside, they're trying to get information for you, they're doing their other tasks. There's a lot of things going on in Siege. So sometimes it just gets a little bit too complicated. But speaking of Yogg, this is his third go-around with Oxygen, man. He's been just running around North America playing for different teams. Oxygen is his first T1 team. He goes to XSET, then M80, then back to Oxygen, then back to M80, then back to Oxygen. I mean, he's just got an affinity for teams with green.
Yeah, he really does, doesn't he, Sam? He's got a long history with this team and the players on this team for sure, so he's been one of the mainstays of this roster. Benja, another mainstay, honestly, at this point for SSG, has gone down, the first player of round 3. Will die on that Legion and leave his team in a 4v3 situation, 4v5 situation, I should say. A lot of track stingers going down around yellow, but unfortunately that's not really where OXG are actually looking to push in. Instead, Yogg goes back down the stairs, and this might be a good enough play to catch them off guard. He went down, set up the stingers, up, set up the stingers, back down to enter.
I don't hate it, especially if he's just patient here. He kind of waits for things to build up for his team. Actually might be more of an active player. You hear that drone in your ear as it rolls in by plants. You have that player off to the left-hand side, and man, Ashen, the hills have eyes. He knows Yogg's there just by the drone. He just pre-fires it and almost takes his entire life. Ashen looking for somebody else's lunch now. A frag grenade and some bullets too, and he will lose his life to Forest. Probably feeling pretty good about that one.
And that's a lot better Blackbeard play coming out. Combined with Yogg, actually, the pressure that he was providing, they worked together to pinch Ashen. They found his position, they worked that pick. It's been a flawless round so far from OXG, which is why Spacestation are now starting to get desperate. J9 looking for a swing to make something happen. Vaults and doors down to the main floor, hoping to find an aggressive angle too.
Nitro cell rip. Not only did we hear that, but Gomez heard that too. He's like, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to exit stage left. How about that one? Nitro Cell out from Fultz, won't capture anything at all. And Oxygen, they are finding every isolation pick they can. Space Station are too spread out, and I know, kind of a hard thing to not ask to do in Consulate, but I mean, that's the truth right now. Oxygen continue to find these picks, and it is impossible for Space Station to try and fend them off.
Now it's going to be 40 seconds. This is pretty much impossible to stop. They need to be able to find a plant, but 1v5 feels like it's unlikely, Sam.
Yeah, some shots out in a flawless round from Oxygen. Hype out of the coach and the bench. Cool, calm, and collected. Oxygen probably pretty happy with this exchange so far that we've seen, at least for these first 3 rounds. We want to use this small of a sample size. For those of you guys that are, some fresher viewers to Siege, we'll walk you through it. Newers got picked up after 3 years to the day with Oxygen. He's traded over to Space Station for Forest. Space Station wants more firepower. They believe in what New was able to create early on in his career during that LMG meta a little bit post, where he was just the most confident guy in a lobby you could find. And Oxygen was looking for somebody to take up the helm, lead them in a direction, let these players, Gomez, Yaga, Grixer, Adam, let them do their thing. And so far, it's been looking really, really good. What's your takes on these? How are you feeling about Newers and Forest and the respective squads right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the start it was really worrying. It almost looked like both teams had lost the trade, because SSG, especially at Reload, were looking like an abysmal team. It was probably the worst tournament that they've played in many, many years, with Ashen having certainly a personal worst tournament by every stat imaginable. And OXG, again, they were a little bit scrappy at the start of the stage. Felt like they weren't really aware of what their identity was supposed to be. And then as stage 1 kind of went on, OXG found their footing. They started to realize who they were. And I didn't know if that was going to be enough coming into EWC, coming into Riyadh, but then very first day, very first game up against Furia, you and I were casting that, Sam. They clearly proved what they had been working on that whole time. So, no, I think at this point it's quite clear that both these teams made the right decisions with their moves in the offseason. Doesn't mean they can both win, unfortunately. Only one of them can walk away the better team today, but so far, I mean, I think OXG have been looking like a really well put together squad. Was a little bit worried about the Consulate pick coming out. Was a little bit worried about them starting attack on Consulate too, but they're up 2-1. This is a really powerful position to be in.
Yeah, you can see this map has been very well trained, and that's really what it takes, man. It's a lot of dissecting. There is a lot of things that need to be coordinated on Consulate. So therefore, it requires a lot of shot calling. You have to be able to be adaptable. And so far, Forrest has been doing a bang-up job of that. So Oxygen more than likely very happy with that. And SSG happy with Newers, as we were just talking about. Betting on him and his talent. They were confident that Newers would be great in their system. And they were able to rekindle even a part of LMG new. They knew he'd be shooting for the stars, you know, so. Now Oxygen back on the windows again, back on the top floor for SSG here as they try to solve the issue that we saw earlier. Oxygen was able to make it up to Checkers. They stalled out just a tad bit, but that's when that adaptation came in over towards Spiral.
SSG, once again, don't lose anybody as the admin clear comes through. They're happy to concede that, though. XG just wasting a bit of time before falling back off. Now it's up to Oxygen to get past this vending hallway. This is one of the most powerful crossfires in all of Siege. It's a good reason why it's always being brought with that sense to try to cut it off in the way, part way.
Oh!
But a big swing. Wow, Sam, that was big.
That's so unfortunate. The positioning from Yaga and Gomez betrayed by the Shield player as Yag tries to make it out of the way. That Shield intended to soak up bullets, but the only thing soaking up bullets is Gomez's face. As he will go down, it's a 5 versus 4. Time starting to slip away a little bit too. Oxygen a little bit worse for wear from what we saw previously on the same offense.
Their last push was 3v2 man advantage. It's a tough bomb site to push, even let alone with a man disadvantage. They needed a ying or something to work.
Wow!
Shot scores, of course, got a chance.
That's so impressive. The Kandala's in. Some nades, too, or an explosive of some sort will take out things on the front desk. Newers finds 2 with the ump. You don't see that every day. It's a triple for him. A quad. Let the man get it. Does he have the capability? Ashen will go down. They know where the last one is, and Newers locks it in. Shoot for the stars. I'll blow up the damn moon.
Up against his old team, Sam. He's been so long, exactly 3 years in 1 day with this OXG roster, and now he's on the other side showing them how it's done. Really nice stuff coming out from Newers in that round. I mean, just mechanical movement of a god. You see how good the crosshair placement is in a lot of these shots, how consistent he is in his swings and his ability to take down these players as they come for him. As they get more and more desperate through the round. Oh man, he's feeling himself, and he knows just how dirty he's done him. Newer is one of those guys that it's hard to root against, man. He's so good.
He is, man. He is. And he's just such a good guy, too, as well. And I'll tell you right now, you already know, Jesse, that's what you don't want to see from Newers right there. He just nonchalantly was like, just another day in the office, man. They're just giving them to me.
Yep.
Oh, that's a scary prospect.
Well, Spacestation even it out now, 2-2, Sam. We'll head back to the basement. This was the one bomb site that Spacestation looked the best at. Actually, they were playing a split site last time, weren't they? This is our first time seeing the basement. Okay. Switching it up a little bit then for SSG and going to make things a little bit tougher from Oxygen's point of view because they won't have seen this defense before. They won't have the ability to adapt.
Curious to see how SSG wants to hold this down. A lot of times we see people go for that extended roam game, try and force the opponents on the offense to clear things out, the full breadth of the map being utilized. And a lot of time, that requires a lot of time sink. And you can see SSG's kind of pigeonholing them because we have Fultz over here on piano. That impact, you're not getting a plant downstairs unless you get him out of there. So we'll see what Oxygen are capable of. We might see some other things start to bring headway to them. But Force is going to start off with the most basic thing you can on the basement. We're going to go down to the garage door and we're going to get things open.
No, we're not. Jane, I know, is going to stall that, at least for a little bit of time. They do have the bandit if they want to try to work some shenanigans. It's easier said than done, of course, coordinating with that super out, but it doesn't look like Newers is in any position to do that. It looks like he's playing over towards electrical instead, so going to be just holding on a different part of the map, and it'll just be a time waste game plan from Jane, I know, as he stalls out the breach. Could go for a pick with the Nitro Cell as well. A little bit late on the last tuber out, though, so it will get opened a bit earlier than it planned.
Yeah, very unfortunate. And never really a chance to get over there and actually just fully take that off of the wall. So that will be exploded, and now a new access point breached into the side of the building here. As Oxygen will more than likely start to make headway. I was going to say somewhere else, but you look at the lineup more and more, it looks like they just want to bully their way directly into this area. And the most worrisome thing is Oxygen have done exactly what you want to do with the glass smoke setups. They've waited to be able to get Warden off the board. SSG more than likely already aware of this as everything starts pouring in. A Nitro Cell out will deliver as the case goes down.
Big problem now for Oxygen. How do you find a backup plan? Another Nitro takes down Adam. they're risking it all for just this glass play, but it's all falling apart now. Ashen's still far above with no map control, Sam. This looks completely lost. Grixer gets one for his troubles, but it just seems like at this point in the 2v4, they're going to have to go to a different plan entirely if they want any chance.
Yeah, honestly, when you really think through how the round just went overall, especially with Yaga going down, Grixer's taking some damage, but that's going to be all she wrote for round 5. I think Spacestation had a fantastic read as to what was going to happen. They go downstairs, they see the Warden ban, nobody touches the building for the first minute and a half, and they're probably all just sitting there going, okay, we know that 4 of you are sitting outside of this garage door waiting for this thing to explode, as J90 was just constantly chucking ice nades at that wall, holding things down, and yeah, the last one doesn't hit, but the writing was already on the wall. They knew what the script was, and they they followed through. That nitro cell was really all they needed right here to be able to really put a thorn in the side of Oxygen.
That's part of the problem with smoke plants, right? You can't stop those nitro cells because you can't see them as they come in through the smoke. They might have thought they were lucky going for smoke plant without a defending smoke on the other side, but instead 3 nitro cells did the job just as well. Denied the plant, got a second kill right after. And then again, Ashen just a ridiculous position playing up above. Don't clear him out of there. I mean, once your smokes are gone, you really have no chance of winning that round. So they go all in on one strategy, something that Oxygen have kind of been doing on a couple of these rounds now. Doesn't feel like they often have a great backup plan, Sam.
No, it really doesn't. But this is the true stress test here. When the last round, you can pull out really any strategy that you want, as there's no adjustments that are going to be made down the line, unless we do obviously get to overtime. Always have to put that caveat in there. But, I mean, I would say respectively for both sides, I think they both done a bang-up job. Calling from Fultz was fantastic. Forrest is having some nice shot calls here. Not exactly a big fan of the last one. I think it was a little bit too obvious what they're going to try and go for with that Warden ban.
Yep.
But hey, things happen. It could have been, shoe on the other foot if they end up winning that, and I'd be singing their praises.
We'll go to Piano in exposition. This is the 6th time this season the Spacestation have tried to defend this bomb site, including the one time earlier on in this matchup, and they have yet to win it on the defensive side. 0% win rate here, 4 plays before this game had begun, so they're really hoping that they can finally get a win on this site, maybe feeling the need to play a little bit more aggressive to try to force that man advantage. The up lineup from OXG certainly suggests they want a full clear top floor because they've got so much soft breach.
Oh, what a find.
Reload!
The drone play non-existent
That's the
on the
kit,
top
Sam.
floor. You're lying to me.
Yeah, that was... Oh, no, Forrest had it, and he dropped it right before that kill.
That's...
Scared me.
Yeah, that was terrifying.
Yeah.
I was about to go in there for a split second, Jesse. I won't lie to you. But no, Oxygen's still the case. It's in Forrest's hands, thank God.
Yep.
But I'm still a little quizzical as to what Adam's decision-making is there. It was more than likely an all-clear call. People don't just swing windows in professional play willy-nilly.
Yep.
So Nitro Cell goes out. Does it claim another life? It does not. Fultz won't be able to find all that much as he will skimper off into the ether of Consulate.
But it's another
Oh my
play.
God! The drones are just nowhere to be found! They don't know where a single damn SSG player is!
You can ban the mute, but then the Mozzie comes right out afterwards, Sam. Fultz playing this operator made a huge difference.
And the Solus. They've just got everything to destroy drones right now, let alone that fact. They have their own info game too with Ashen working on the Valk.
It really does seem like they've completely taken over the information game. They're likely to look to go up 4-2 unless we can see a miracle out of these last 3 players in Oxygen. Yaga lurking for a kill here on the Visa stairs. Forrest outside. Grixer's top floor at the moment where he might find an engagement with Fultz, but no matter where they end up going for a fight. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Yogg hits the deck. And he'll hit it again, but not by his...
no. Oh, no.
Man, oh, man. I don't think that's how you want your last round to go of the half, unless your name is Spacestation. Then you are a very, very happy team. Oxygen, I mean, what a suffocating round to watch from them. I legitimately am just a little gobsmacked at some of these different situations that we fall into. Obviously, again, they tried their best to back it up with what they had, but SSG just seemed to have the right timing, the right moment every single time throughout all of round 6.
Yeah, it really did feel like Spacestation were playing their game. I mean, they like to play aggressive. They like to go forward and take those fights early, and that's exactly what they did. They get the 4-2 split now in Oxygen. For their part, I mean, they had a 2-1 lead. They kind of threw it to get to this point, but a 4-2 split attacking on console is actually fine.
Yeah.
You know, OXG are not on a bad position as long as they don't let the mental get away from them, right? This seems to be the problem of every single opponent that faces SSG, is they start to lose the game and then the game spirals because SSG never slip up. They are always playing at their highest level. So for Oxygen, as long as they can maintain their highest level as well, they should have a good time on these consulate defenses. It could be a really defender-sided map. Throughout this season, again, they've only played it, they only had the one game that I have stats for back against Wildcard, but they did have a 2/3 win rate in that matchup in the 6 rounds they played, so they should be confident on these defensive sides, but really is going to be told in the server, not on paper.
Yeah, always love that, man. My favorite part. You and I talk about numbers a lot, and I always really appreciate our conversations, but it always does round back to that at the end, don't we?
Yeah.
Well, him and I will yap for hours, and then at the very end, him and I will both go, but they still got to play the game. It's ridiculous. But yeah, dude, when it comes to SSG, I mean, some of the hallmarks of them are just unwavering resilience, remarkable psychological endurance, and pure dedication to their system. That's my favorite part. All of SSG is fully bought in. I think I said it yesterday, where I was like, SSG is an organization where even the janitor is fully bought into the system. That guy's taking cold plunges, the whole 9 yards, and we'll see if SSG are going to be able to build atop that really good foundation and handle things here on the consulate offense.
Well, it's going to be let's get everybody to the roof situation for SSG to start things off.
As you do.
This will be a very different strategy, I think, from Spacestation. I think they do still want to finish admin. They haven't actually cleared admin so far, so they will have to still check that off. Yaga's playing a little bit aggressive, but we see him fall back to the hallway now. He's going to be holding that with admin. Not with Adam, with Adam. But once they get this right, they're going to be once again focused on getting past that vending hallway. That's always going to be the biggest problem that you face as an attacking team. It's a really powerful crossfire. They don't have that sense to try to enable that either. So if they can work a pick early onto Yaga, that'd be a big difference maker. Or if they can somehow get a pick otherwise on the map, that would also be a huge deal.
E1D out, and usually that's a sign of the times. Something's going to happen, something's got to give, but no motion out of Ash, and no motion out of all of SSG, really. Where's the bag, boys? Come on. And there it is. J9L fly in on the lower admin window towards your screen, and he'll find a beautiful frag! What the hell is going on? J9O explodes the doors off of Oxygen. And he's still the only one in the damn building. There's so many crosses. He's still taking gunfights. I'm terrified for this man. There's a guy right on the other side of this wall. It's going to be Yaga up close and personal. He's crawling on the ground.
This is gross.
J9O is just doing everything except throwing the kitchen sink at this defense right now.
Yaga's wasting a lot of time, though, Sam. This is a real big problem for them. They've got a great man advantage, but if he gets at least one more pick, maybe another after this, then he could turn the whole round around.
Newers with a nice find, though. It'll get it down to a 3 versus 2. SSG knows it's go time. It's sub-minute. They're trying to press things now. They had the man advantage, and that's the beauty of things on console when you get to a situation like this. You can pick and choose what value works, and they've traded out bodies for map control. Now we're getting down to a point where if you hit some nice shots, you'll open things up. Fultz will be in the wings, but he's not needed for that plant. Instead, it's Ashen to set the defense on fire.
J9O and Ashen, a very common couple of players to be getting all the kills in the server. Usually it would be Ashen first and J9O second, as the entry and support combo tend to play, but J9O can make those entries happen too if he needs to. Ridiculous gunplay coming out from him. You will find those 2 early picks onto both the Forest and Adam. And then once things whittle down to the 2v2, once things get a little bit more chaotic, they do start to rely back on their superstar, right? It's going to be Ashen stepping things up at the end of there. Big team play coming out from SSG and big individual moments as well. Sometimes it looked like they were stalling out in that round. Sometimes it looked like they were stressing a little bit. Sometimes it looked like they didn't know what to do next. But when they did make a move, Sam, it was always the right one.
Definitely goes to show you just how complicated Consulate can be. Even with a round where SSG did a lot of right things, it came down to a 2 versus 2, and Grix are getting clipped, bouncing over the top of the meeting table that's been flipped over.
Yep.
It's just wild sometimes how things will boil down. And Spacestation Gaming so far, so damn good on Consulate. 3-round lead, looking good on the offense. And now Oxygen fans at home begging for an adjustment, begging for a moment to get them back in. Granted, pretty early on this defensive side, but that's the other thing too. We're only 2 rounds away from SSG locking this up.
Well, they're going to have to rely on their entries. It's Adam all by himself on the top floor playing all the way above, and he's already being hunted down by Newers. He's going to be here on the Jackal likely. His goal will be to find him. And he doesn't really have any support once again. Yaga is technically on the first floor, but that's over by Electrical. That doesn't really count as part of the roam game, so Adam has really been left by himself. He's made it all the way back to Visa Stairs, so he's in a very comfortable position. Almost more of a fake roam here where he set up these pests to try to stop the drones, to maybe fake that there are more players on the top floor than there actually are. And then his goal is to not die, right? Play down below, play your life a little bit more. His nitro is used already, so if he dies, it's not the end of the world, but it doesn't feel like he's playing up here to get 1,000 kills or anything.
I love how big brain and of an adjustment this Jackal is. And I know what you're thinking. Sam, it's Jackal. They're just trying to track people. I know, but the big thing is here is what does Jackal not have to use? Drones. You don't have to worry about Mozzie Pests. You don't have to worry about mute jammers.
Yep.
That's it. You just put the tracker on them, and they have to vacate the premises. And it's a beautiful setup from SSG. It demands respect whenever you get pinged like that, because otherwise I just sick my dog Ashen on you, and you die.
Comes after the Deimos ban too, which would have been a similar operator to fill that position, but instead they do it with the old school way, right? The footprints come out. They do get a track eventually down onto, I believe it was Forest, but with these mute jammers, it can be tough. That's a great toss from Gomez right onto J9O, the superstar from the previous round. And with a man advantage now, this might be exactly what they needed on the side of OXG to get their first defense.
It's looking really good. You know, they do have that solid clear upstairs, but Oxygen give it proper respect. They'll back down, and with that Nitro cell coming through now, they've got the man advantage. Only a minute remaining for Space Station Gaming, and they need something special to make this happen, and it starts right here with Benjamaster.
I mean, barbed wire is the worst thing for a Nook, but if this swing comes out, if it's smart from Gomez, he's probably in close enough range to one-shot, so it's going to come down to whoever's faster, and if Benja can click the head in the first millisecond.
All quiet. Somebody hit somebody.
Oh,
come on.
The Blackbeard just shows up.
Oh no! Oh, you gotta do something now. The frag grenade out, and he's gonna take them both. Oh no, Ashen. That is not how you want to try and solve that puzzle. That's so unfortunate. As Adam will take out Fultz, and the last remaining SSG member will fall. Oxygen with a beautiful round on the basement. Wow.
I mean, Gomez
Yes.
puts together one of the most beautiful plays on mute I've seen in a hot minute. Certainly the greatest mute play I've seen this game, because Gomez really did step up after the Nitro Cell kill, playing Spiral Stairs, perfectly reacting to the sound of that. Monty coming through. Gomez is one of those players you're happy to rely on, one of the veterans on OXG. He's the best. He was the best player on Oxygen yesterday when they played their 2 games. He went 20 and 14 combined for their first 2 matches, and it really does feel like he is starting to hit his stride. Didn't have the best stage 1, only a .91 KDR through the North America League, but this tournament just feels like it's his. Gomez is turning up on a completely different level.
Yeah, and I mean, Grixer 10 and 5 right now. I mean, I really have to lean on that, just sing his praises for a little bit, because the thing about Grixer is that he's been so absurdly consistent ever since he joined the Sonics. And like now we're at this point with Grixer where he switched over to Oxygen. That roster's went over to Shopify Rebellion. It's basically, you know, rebranded, new faces. You got Troy in there. There's a lot going on that's a little bit different now. And Grixer, unfortunately, he got the axe, but still a fantastic player and clearly more than T1 capable, as Forrest is putting him to work, and he's just like, I'll take it.
You see all these auction bodies up on the top floor there. Looking at the window, gets shot a little bit now, but Ashton's going to be the one who's on the other side of it, so hopefully with the shield won't fall to any ridiculous spawn peaks. Meanwhile, Newers is going to enter in through the basement. Now, there's nobody down here for him to find. We can see that from the player positions. Forrest is on the main floor. He's the sole anchor, while the other 4 players on OXG all roam up above. Of course, the name of the game when it comes to Piano Exposition is soft breaching from above. It's coming down to, can you hold the top floor for very long, because every plant spot on this site can be denied from above. They're not all easy, so some teams will try to cheese it. But it does feel like with how committed OXG are to holding down this top floor, they feel confident they'll be able to stop any plant as long as they keep holding this position. So it feels like SSG are going to have to do something to force these players out.
My air jab is deployed.
They got the time to do it. Spacestation will continue to process the map, and this is probably going to at least attempt to build up to a proper execute. You got the sense in there, you got the air jabs to try and hold up the flank. You can just kind of see the semblance of them trying to hold things around this checkers area, extend across that top floor, and as Jesse said, get a hold of that verticality. It's the most important thing on this bomb site, and I mean, you can have a very bad day as a site player on this map if that's given up.
It's a long toss on the Sens. I hope he knows where that one's going. Can sometimes be tough to seal where those are going to be bouncing around with the Sens walls. Top floor is still firmly in control of the OXG, so this is going to be a really awkward plan from Spacestation. They force the players out of certain parts of the top floor, so they know that they have at least soft control over meeting that OXG can't control anymore. They've got a couple players that have gone down below too, so now you've got to be worried about, can somebody deny you from the bottom, can somebody deny you from the top, or can somebody deny you from horizontal? I mean, there's a lot of threats right now for Spacestation.
And that timer continuing to eat at them as Gomez finds a stalwart Benjamaster in the hallway, just non-moving as he gets cut down. The BB will see the verticality upstairs that SSG has failed to deal with. And finally, the pressure coming in from J9. He'll see the player. Gomez backs off, almost finds the frag still. I do believe it's just J9 to try and deal with this issue upstairs. As Ashen tries to force the case down, he'll die to Grixer's shotgun on the Solus. You see it sometimes just because you do have that SMG-11 secondary, and this map can get pretty close quartered. So big fan of that one there as Spacestation scramble to try and find a place for this case.
It's impossible though. I mean, Grixer's still below. He's going to know exactly where you plant the second you start planting. He sees it there, and so he can't deny that directly from below, but he can tell his teammates.
Oh, and the down on New. Is this case going to be confirmed? I don't think it is. J90 finds him from above. It's a triple kill for Jay, and Fultz finds the last one by the skin of their teeth. Spacestation win the round. Oxygen, somehow, some way, it slips through their fingers. Jesse, correct me if I'm wrong, they basically did everything right except maybe getting the pick on J90 upstairs.
Man, Yaga literally had the angle. He knew exactly where the plant was happening. He had a free shot to take down Fultz as he was planting, but it was through a soft wall. He didn't have exact vision as to where Fultz was putting the fuse kit down, so he tried to rotate through the doorway into Piano. That's what J90 was watching. That was so close, down to the wire. I really thought Oxygen were going to walk away with it. Super smart to start on the top floor with all your players, then go down to the basement. That was your real plan to deny the plant, but in the end, SSG too strong in the chaos. Sam.
Yeah. Their mental fortitude is just something else. We're gonna have a tactical pause coming here from Oxygen as their fresh-faced coach. At least standing behind them. He's been here for a little bit, but standing behind them will have something to say. Redeem the Dream, now a general manager for Oxygen. Congratulations, Taylor. That's a big deal. So, always a positive thing to see people like Redeemer make big moves, man. He's been around the scene for a long time, and it's just super, super cool. Funny enough, actually, if you guys want a little bit of history here, SSG entered Siege on March 2nd, 2018, acquiring the LFO roster at that time in North America. You want to know who that was?
Who?
Chala, Redeemer, Thinking Nade, and Trippin'. Yes.
That's wild.
Yes, my friend. Pretty interesting prospect there. And yeah, I mean, SSG has just had such a incredible tenure here with Rainbow Six Siege, and definitely one of my favorite organizations from our region.
No, yeah, I mean, it's been great. In this TAC timeout, OXG really needs to try some way to dig deep. I believe it's Phenom who's behind them now in that coaching position. The French player that came in, not player, but strategic coach, kind of analyst who's been around the scene for a while. Was on Fnatic for a little bit of time, and then was in Tier 2 EU for quite a long time. Izzy Dream might be a name some are familiar with. Team 86 back in the day for Tier 2 EU heads. So he's been around the block for a long time in Siege. This will be his first time being head coach behind a Tier 1 team, though.
Yeah, he has to be excited, especially with the results they've already garnered here at this event. Oxygen been looking like a completely different team from what we saw from the stage, as we referenced earlier. But inside of this best of 3, it's looking like what we saw from Spacestation against Oxygen in that lower bracket run, as Spacestation is looking pretty darn confident right now.
No, they're looking good, Sam. I mean, this is how they seem to look in all lower bracket games, right? Playing with confidence, zero fear at all. Things get messy sometimes, things get chaotic, but they have the teamwork, they have each other, and they have ridiculous mechanics to back it all up at the end of the day. Not to say that OXG don't. They're obviously a much newer roster. Both these players made a roster move at the start of the season, but OXG swapped in 3 new players, Forrest being just one of them, of course, coming alongside Adam joining this team as well as Grixer. So it was a much more drastic change from OXG, and they've had to really do a lot more learning this season than Spacestation have. On this round, to try to hold it down, they will rely on a couple of roamers up above. They've got Gomez holding things down on the yellow. They've got Adam trying to support him. Yaga up here too.
Oh, Gomez gets executed from Ashen, but Yaga will at least be able to get the refrag, so they'll get some semblance of value back out of that. But things are going to get a little bit more difficult here for Oxygen, as Gomez was that secondary frag option for them right now, as nobody else has really been lighting up the scoreboard.
Wow.
But as soon as I say that, Adam will make me eat my words, as he will destroy Benjamaster.
So 2 kills from the roamers on the top floor. That was pretty nice from OXG. Trade 2 for 1, and you killed Benjamaster on the Habana as well. I believe he used a lot of those experiments already, but if he hadn't, I mean, that's going to be a big issue for them. They're trying to get the claw here, Sam. They can, okay, they get it with the EMP. That's pretty tough to hit, actually, sometimes, because you don't know where it is. Worst case, they could have used that Selma charge on the side, and it would have been a little bit up the hatch anyways, but better to do it with the EMP, do it the right way. Yeah,
you can always be a little cheeky, right? But
yep.
As you said, do it the safe way, just in case things do end up messing up. You don't want a situation like that. And you still have to be a little scared for SSG. I want you guys to realize that they are walking on an open landmine field right now. And there also happens to be guns pointed out the floor. It's a trap house right now. There's a bunch of things in here that could potentially cause you harm. And Space Station looking like that's exactly what they will fall to as of now. Some shots out of Newers will not find their mark in a conducive fashion.
Talk about a man who loves just getting under his opponents. Grixer for the 2nd time, having huge value. First was on the Solus, now on the Pulse. Reading all this information, feeding the kills to his teammates. Adam grabs another, and J9 left in the 1v4. No chance at all.
They'll be shut down here as Oxygen very quickly dispatches SSG. A failure to launch for them in this round, just really nothing going their way. Yeah, they're able to get that pick on Ashen, but it's an immediate refrag here from Yaga. And from that moment onwards, it was all positive wins towards the back of Oxygen.
Yeah, I mean, I think it does partly come back down to Benja's death as well. If you have Benja up, you can probably get a lot more of those hatches. The other hatch that was inside a Visa office was also electrified. So, I mean, maybe if you have a little bit more utility, you can open up both those hatches. The hallway hatch probably becomes a little bit more viable for you as well. There's so many hatches to get down inside a server. They only really had one they were working with on the side of SSG. So, not the push that they were hoping to go for. The good thing is, Sam, they'll get 2 more chances before this heads to overtime.
Yeah. You know, that round really seemed like that one that SSG kind of stole away, where everybody was just in the 4 corners of the earth on Consulate, and somehow, some way, were able to make a round out of it. That time around, though, it went the way that you expect it to. Oxygen is able to find all of these ISO players and start to do some very serious damage to people like Benja upstairs, because SSG are trying to accomplish a lot at one moment in time. And unfortunately enough for them, and anybody on offense on Consulate, that's how this map works.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you try and do one thing at a time, that timer's just going to hit 0, and that's it.
Yeah. Wow, here we go. More aggression coming out. We see Gomez taking a cheeky angle on a window, trying to find some aggressive early play. Work a pick off SSG. I think they realized from that last round that they can get the man advantage in the early round, and that late round becomes a whole lot easier. Main garage wall being attempted at the moment. There are nitro cells that could fly out, and one gets tossed by Gomez, but no cigar. It sounds like the wall did manage to get opened up. The Electric Claw didn't manage to do much, and without a two-brow, of course, they don't really have any other options to keep it closed.
Yeah, kind of surprised by no Tubby in the lineup, but there is a large roam going on for Oxygen, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. It's not something where they really are too concerned about holding downstairs, and if they're able to hold Piano, we know how big of an issue that could potentially be for the offense, and you can clearly see that's pretty much Gomez's game plan right now, but there's a shotgun waiting over on the yellow stairs. Ashen, supported by a drone that we just saw tossed down low, more than likely looking to remove this player from play.
Not 100% sure why he's on the Amara. I guess just loves the gun. Gets stunned out though. Looks like he's gonna hit one of those yokai cams and have to fall on back. So now under heavy pressure, expecting to get pushed, but kind of fighting ghosts here, Sam. Nobody's actually going after him.
Yeah. more than likely going to be stuck here on yellow for just a little bit, as there's more than likely a player downstairs that's holding that pipe store as well. There's not really going to be an area where he can escape at the current moment, but he's going to wait, as he knows just from the team comms that they are still working across the map. They're going to open up new angles, make things a little bit more difficult for this defense as they will start to peel off.
We're looking at a 5v5 execute coming in here, Sam. All 5 defenders down in the basement. SSG not looking to engage with them before the push count comes. This will get the hatch, which is likely electrified, which is why he's putting it on the soft wall. So explode through the wall, open the hatch, and so that's going to be mission accomplished coming through from Faults. Giving value to both those exothermic charges. Floorboards ripped up by Newers, and everybody can start to get into position for the actual execute. Likely we're going to see that kit come down through yellow, try to get a plant down over towards radio, but could go through the breach too if they want to play with some smokes. They have no smokes. No, it should come radio then, Sam. Could do something cheeky with the hatch, or maybe spiral stairs, but that'd be the play.
And they're going to fly right now. Fly, Eagles, fly. As Fultz flown into the sights, and the plant will attempt to go down. First, Yokai will stop him, and 2 big kills out of SSG, out of the verticality, I do believe. Yaga and Adam both go down, and that's going to be the fire wielder there, although his utility will persist. SSG have been able to carve out Garage. There's just not enough stoppage utility, and Spacestation Gaming, it's practically a flawless round. I did not expect that in the slightest. Really, the only stoppage utility we have is that Yokai. It gets 1 usage, and then it's stopped, and then we don't see a single other piece get flung out to prevent that case from going down. Every person that steps up to the plate is immediately dusted by Space Station. A beautiful consulate out of SSG.
In the end, they were able to work those picks, Sam. Really nice stuff coming out with that push. We saw the brunt of it over towards Garage, but Benja hitting the back as well, coming down to the Visa stairs, I think making a big difference in that round too. Really impressive stuff from Oxygen, but it is SSG who are better in the end of it. Looking really solid on Consulate. They steal their opponent's map pick.
Truly impressive stuff. And we've had a lot of words to say about these 2 teams, Jesse, but you know who also has some words to say about this? Our analyst desk. We'll be right back.
Secured against OXG. Why are you laughing, Leo? What's going on?
I'm just having a good time. That's a great game.
It was.
That's former teammates playing against each other, and I'm just sat here watching it. I'm just having fun. It was a great game,
It was,
to be honest.
you know, actually, just something that we had a little bit of like a back and forth on was when we're looking at Forest, it's like, is he going to be in their heads rent-free? Are they going to be in his head rent-free? Is he going to be worried that they know what's coming next? Well, I feel like we kind of have our answer.
And I love that it was 2 clash of styles as well. It just felt like which style would overcome the other, which one was stronger in this case. It's actually map dependent, I feel. I think there's other maps where OXG's style would overcome SSG, but SSG were clean with it, and I was really happy with that result.
It was basically chaos versus organization, right?
Absolutely.
Chaos versus structure. I think that's pretty much how we put it. On one hand, you've got Oxygen with Forest as the lead. He's going to bring the Blackbird. He's going to bring the Ying. He's going to bring the Finka. All of the weird, shady operators, the Tachanka in defense. And he's going to go and come up with some crazy stuff. Now, most of this, I think the biggest gap happened in the attack side for Oxygen. They struggled. Only 2 attack rounds. Why is the reason for this? They were extremely predictable. They kept on attacking front the bomb site. Whether it was top, whether it was basement, it was extremely readable, extremely predictable. Although it was chaotic, it was almost one front, no backstab, and that was my biggest issue.
And I really want to capitalize on what you're saying here. I'm looking at the operators I've listed here. Adam on Sense, Forest on BB, Yog on BB, Forest on Ying, Yog on Glaz, Gomez on Ying, Warden Ban. I mean, I could list all of these rounds, and a lot of this came down to them also then repicking. And I'm watching them in the repick, go back on the VOD guys, and they're repicking operators like 6 times. And I'm like, what is the conversation? What's the plan? Because it's clear that you're not sure what you even want to take on some of these attack rounds. So Oxygen picked this, but it's like they didn't know exactly what they wanted to do.
The plan was that maybe that was not the plan, or maybe
Bring
that
chaos?
was the plan, or maybe chaos was the plan. But I think as well, Leo, you had one specific round that you really wanted to highlight when it came to the attacking struggles that we saw from OXG.
So we saw opposing playstyle, right? What about we check what happens when SSG actually attacks? 20 seconds left, 3v4. Surely they don't win this, right? There's a Solis downstairs. They're trying to execute. Look at what's happening. They send a sense wall. The diffuser is going all the way into a safe plan spot. J9 has retook upstairs. He's gotten killed there. Then you have a perfect cover on the planter from above again, and he gets the plant because the top floor player once again covers the right doorway at the right time. That's the difference between SSG and Oxygen right now. In the very last few seconds, they execute much more complex attacks masterfully.
Honestly, they didn't know there was a Solace to begin with. You could tell by the droning, you could tell by the information collection. They were worried with the top floor, as you should be on that particular setup. They didn't know there was a Solace below. So when they had worked that out, it was, I think within 3 seconds, the game plan had changed. And that's how fast you need to think when problems arise. They had a redundancy for the redundancy. And when they got into piano to get that plan down, I thought that was just brilliant.
And just look at that final round. That execution on basement.
Oh,
that was pure. That was clean. You've got a thermite running in. You've got the EMPs to cover for the UK drone. You've got a cover coming from the yellow door. At the same time, someone upstairs. You've got someone still on the bridge shooting the C4s. Everything felt great.
You say that, but I think they just didn't overcomplicate things. Let's bring Ram because Ram's not banned, and if I open up the floorboards, you have nowhere to move. And it just felt like Oxygen wanted to bring all these cheesy ops and whatnot. Sometimes just the simple is what works best. And even though OXG picked it, I think they misread how difficult they needed to make it. Honestly, SSG opened up the floorboards, side is ours.
Yeah. I think as well there were certain expectations of how this was gonna go, considering the OXG SSG game that we saw in the NAL. I thought this was going to be a lot closer. Also taking into consideration even further how much OXG was able to push Furia yesterday. Like, we're talking about Furia, right? And then you come here and this is your map pick and it doesn't go your way at all.
I think there's a big difference between these two teams. I'm curious to see your opinion on this, but I believe they're not at the same stage in the sense that we've seen since the last meetup that they've had, Spacestation go through multiple games through the loser bracket, go through another BO3 victory against the reigning champions of Falcons. This team has grown with New Year's. They've went through huge obstacles. They've went through multiple overtimes in NAL. They've beat Falcons. They've grown. They've matured, and they're not at the same stage of Oxygen.
And they have the mental coaching in there as well.
The bias was kicking in. I was glad you brought it up because I said there was a bias pick for me for SSG. I want to see results from the mental coaching. That's what we're seeing. But also I wonder, and I want to hear your thoughts on this, beating Furia puts a false sense of security in your head. You're better than you are. When Furia has a bad day at the office, yes or no?
Well, you've just lost your map to SSG. I think you have no sense of security whatsoever. I don't think whatever you did last time changed anything.
So this is where you have to go back to that drawing board because it is a best of 3. So you have that opportunity to bring it back, to adjust, to recalibrate, see what needs to go next. We're going to be coming up with a break and then we'll head into the second map of this series of SSG going up against OXG. So stick around.
Welcome back to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia for the Esports World Cup. My name is Stokes and I'm joined with Jesse as always for this tournament as we'll be running through this follow-up map. We just got done with Consulate where SSG had a very dominant showcase of exactly why they wanted to take us over there. And next up we have Chalet. Mr. Chick, what are your thoughts so far on what we've seen and what can we expect to see from Chalet?
Well, map 1 was tough for Auction because that was their pick. They choose Consulate at SSG. On the second half, they only get 2 defensive wins out of their 5 attempts. It was not going to be good enough to take down a team like Spacestation. So now they got to do the impossible, win their opponent's map pick against SSG and also the decider. Chalet will be our second map of the game, Sam, and Chalet is one that OXG have never really had success on. They're on a 5-game losing streak when it comes to this map, and some of those are from previous rosters, so I'm willing to ignore them, but 3 of them are with this roster, so you can't throw all of that data out the window. We have seen Oxygen fail at this map over and over and over again. It has not been one that they've been comfortable with. SSG only have a 2-2 record, which doesn't sound amazing, but both of those losses were 8-7 games, and both of them were in the NAL playoffs against quite good opponents. So the sample size for both SSG and Oxygen are both quite large, but when you look at these two teams, it's very clear SSG have had much better results on a map like Chalet.
Well, man, I mean, I guess there's only one option for Oxygen, and at this point, Jesse, you just can't shit your pants. That's it. That's all you got left.
Is everyone on the broadcast going to say it? Everybody? I won't. I'm not going to do it.
Do it right now.
No, sir.
You got 6 seconds to say it right now.
Sam, I hope that whoever comes out on top of this does it with a clean pair of underwear and do it with a smile on their face. Chalet loading in right now. SSG Oxygen into the operator bands. Chalet's an interesting one. You almost always see a zombie taking off on this map. It's probably her best map in the pool. We'll go for Clash first. I'd expect a zombie second. If it's not, we're starting to get a little freaky on the side of SSG. Could do a Castle instead, side of Auction, I should say. You could ban the Castle instead. It does very similar things, but I think the zombie's a little bit more adaptable. Ashton asks, why ban Clash? And they will go Castle instead of the zombie instead. So leaving, I would argue, the most powerful operator on this map up on the board for Spacestation to play with. It's a risky move, Sam, but it's the one Auction have made.
Yes, it is indeed, my friend. And, you know, it's a pretty interesting thing as well.
They're not even going to play it.
They did. There it is. Yes.
You know what? Janino probably thought it was banned, because it always is. Then at the last second, he was like, oh, wait.
Yeah, he's like, oh, wait, we should actually implement the best operator on this map. That'd probably be a pretty good idea, wouldn't it? But, yeah, I mean, the big thing now is that, you know, Oxygen are going to leave that up. And, I mean, I'm pretty sure SSG is going to match their freak, so I'm a little worried right now, but, you know, I've been wrong before, and I'm open to it again. So we'll see what happens here. But after what we just saw, I feel like we're going to be having a very confident SSG, and, I mean, we've already seen their mental resiliency, and let alone that fact, but we are in the lower bracket, which seems to be where SSG thrive. They are indomitable with their backs against the wall. As, I mean, we've made the joke a couple of times what they keep saying, but truly, guys, their mental fortitude is just from a different planet. Yeah,
I mean, these two teams have met each other twice throughout this season. SSG came ahead both times. In one best of 3, the only time OXG won a map, it did go 8-7. Since that 8-7, SSG have not lost a round 15. Period. They've won every single max overtime that they've gone into since that single one that they lost against OXG. And again, they still won the series versus Oxygen in that game anyway. So definitely feels like Spacestation had the momentum when it comes down to these really high-pressure games, when it comes down to even going up against Oxygen so far this season. These two squads, as we've said over and over today, extremely familiar with one another. We saw Newers play for 3 years on OXG. We saw Forrest play for 2 years on Spacestation. There is lots of love between these players, but only one of them can win and take it all the way to the playoffs of EWC.
Somebody has to go home. Only one of these North American teams can persist here at the EWC, as this is one of the more aggressive formats in the esports. You have a slight slip up, you go home. It happens to Falcons, it happens to everybody. And yeah, excuses can be made, but everybody's got to play the game at the end of the day, and sometimes you do get caught off guard. That's just the name of it. So for Spacestation, they'll look to continue to try and hold on to a little bit of extension over in Bathroom, as Fultz has that deployable shield inside of the hot tub. Yago will start pouring bees in here to try and force back any player, or at least just get a little bit of information over towards that master closet area.
Yeah, Solar take to start. Interesting Grimby setup. Nobody really plays in that deep of the bomb site, but they send it deep anyways. Track Stingers will start to cover Benja, but he's not been forced out of this position, Sam. He's happy with his utility. He says, fine, throw the bees, throw the stingers. Doesn't love how close the stingers get, but he has not been forced to move out of this position. Could still cause lots of chaos.
Yeah, and honestly, he doesn't even need to peek yet either. He'll rotate back through the closet and end up cleaning up those track stingers just to make his life a little bit easier, because he does want to go for that Nitro Cell swing. Ashen will come in, and Adam will completely eviscerate him on the swing. Grixer will go down to a Frost Mat, and unfortunately enough for him, in Common Day Siege, he's not going to be able to sprint for a little bit.
Yeah, slowed down for a little bit now. They're going to have to be able to find another way into this site, but it's chaos inside of Solar, Sam.
Undeployable shield here for Fultz will be able to at least pay back something. Knows one might be coming for the window, but an active Adam will find his third kill of the round. It's just down to J9-0 now, as Gomez will die. And does have an opportunity here, but the cross should be prolific. And it will be, as Forrest will take him down. That'll be the first round. Decently clean from Oxygen, especially with what we saw initially. I was a little worried with them flirting with Solarium and not really having active players over those other windows. But they eventually were able to cross their T's and dot their I's and pull this one over to their side.
Let this be a lesson to everyone that even though you jump into 2 Frost Mats in 1 round, you can still win, okay? You can still have a big game. And all it takes is having somebody on your team named Adam who's absolutely filthy to drop a 3K like that. It's a really nice stuff coming out of the end of the day from OXG on that push. They did jump into a couple of mats. One of them ended up with the player losing their life. The other one, they managed to pick it up and it wasn't too big of a deal. But even still, that's one of those, again, pre-practice strategies that OXG have likely set up for a map like Chalet. Because like a lot of the time in this tournament, they're coming in with pretty complex ideas about how they want to take certain parts of the map, and sometimes that means not taking very much of the map because you've got 5 players really focusing on one area altogether. While that does sometimes have its drawbacks, you know, you don't always have so many dimensions going in for your push. It does mean that that one part of the map that you are pressuring, that you are applying a lot of your focus to, ends up being really, really powerful. And so we saw that from Oxygen, ends up working out in that round.
Yeah, if you start to get the snowball rolling in a situation like that, Jesse, it just becomes a massive boulder that will smash into the defense. You know, we saw those 2 initial picks coming out of Oxygen, and that's really where the sign of the time started for SSG. And, I mean, as you said, when you're so honed in on one portion of the map and you just have bodies littered across that space, it doesn't exactly even matter if SSG does end up picking up a person in that situation, because you have so many bodies to try and refrag and recover that scenario. And, I mean, even with that being said, Oxygen didn't necessarily need that just because of how solid that opener was. So now we'll lead into round 2. SSG are not feeling confident on that top level anymore. They will make an adjustment. And I do believe, yes, indeed, we are in Barn Gaming.
Yeah, we swapped the focus on Solar for a focus on Library, so we're elevating our minds a little bit more in round number 2.
Speaking of elevating our minds, Gomez with the Spider-Man rappel to take out the Kiba barrier in Library.
It does it as safe as possible. Knows it's Newers on the other side of it. Newers can hit some absolutely disgusting shots. Teamed with him for quite a long time, so he's well aware of what Newers is capable of. That's why he's trying to blind him fully before he can go for this jump in. Otherwise, he's going to have a really tough time.
He had to toss it, otherwise the laser gate was going to eat it up. He'll throw another one out, and won't be able to find too much. It's going to be an aggressive play here as all of Oxygen fly into the bomb site. SSG will deliver, though. Finally, they're fighting back. Forrest has looked so good on these shields here today. Him and Yaga both playing a lot of this Blackbeard, and it's paying off in dividends as 2 kills go his way. Able to still try and find a place to put this case down, but the big issue is right now is SSG have a lot of solid control still across the board, especially in this top level to complicate things.
7-0 combined stat line for the last 2 players live on Oxygen. We're only in the middle of round 2, by the way, with that, so this could get absolutely disgusting really fast. They've kind of got site control, but again, up above is SSG. They can deny almost every single plant on this map by playing that vertical.
And that's exactly why you see Ashen just standing still upstairs, working around that little space, using that verticality to his advantage, and also on the other foot, why you see Oxygen responding in the way that they are. They know how dangerous the situation is right now. They more than likely can't even leave bar stock just because of the vertical angles, and they don't exactly know where Ashen is positioned. If you choose wrong, you lose the round.
They had a drone on Ashen, but he just moved, so that information is now gone. They might hear his footsteps, but they'll try the plant regardless.
Halfway through, swings in, and they're not accounting for Newers. Like a demon in the night, he'll swing in and quickly dust this away. Only 18 seconds remain. Ashen, you do not need to flirt with death. You have to force Adam into a bad scenario. It seems like it might work out, though. Adam sticks the plant, and now he has a chance. A chance for redemption in round 2. He'll get the first kill. He knows where Newers is. Dances, bobs, weaves. Another chance. Not able to get the head yet. The timer coming low. Pistol popping. Adam! What a moment as Oxygen come alive here on Chalet.
Huge moves. The 23-year-old from Ontario, California. A massive play when his team needed him the most. Not an easy round to win, Sam. The 1v2 chooses to stick the plants. That's such a risky plant to stick. You could get shot from above. You could get run at from the doorway. Anything could happen, and you could just instantly lose the round. But he knows he has to stick if he wants a chance of winning this in any realistic scenario. Does just that, and then insane aim. Took him a couple tries to get the final kill on the Newers, but doesn't seem to matter. The pistol gets the job done in the end. Adam, what a ridiculous play. And again, a guy that we were really hoping would step up this event because he's the main entry guy on Oxygen, and they've not had a great entry season so far. Now we're seeing an insane tournament from Adam, and I mean, those are the types of rounds that turn things completely upside down for teams.
Yeah, 100%. And what a better place to do it as well than Chalet, a map that, I mean, you said it yourself, this is not a playground for Oxygen at all. In fact, it might be their own personal snowy hell. It's just not good. But somehow, some way, Adam has discovered himself once again here on Chalet, and he's making the most of the situation. What a beautiful round. And ladies and gents, this is why you always trust yourself. You have to try. I hate it when I see players just give up and go, I'm just going to go take a gunfight. They've already won the round. Not Adam. He just tries to force the case down, and he finds a will and a way to be able to bring round 2 back to bear for Oxygen. Especially on the offensive side, man. I mean, god damn.
Well, we'll slow things down a little bit after the ridiculous round. Adam's 7-0. I mentioned he plus Forrest were 7-0 in the 2v2. Now he can hold that title just by himself. Oh my goodness, just a ridiculous play. The bomb site's going to shift downstairs, Sam. We've really seen pro teams move away from the basement on Chalet. This bomb site has really fallen off in pick rate in really every region across the world, as teams just don't seem to favor it these days. SSG taking a bit of a gamble going here, but they've got a heavy roam extension on the top floor to try to make up for some of the weaknesses in the basement, and so far, none of them have been caught.
And that's the thing. It's almost a requirement nowadays to be able to extend things and force the offense to deal with your different positioning, because if you try and turtle downstairs, it just doesn't work out in Common Day Siege. It used to be really solid back in the day, but it's 2025 now, folks. We've got 10 years of tenure under our belt when it comes to Rainbow Six, and, you know, things change. So SSG most definitely on an unfavorable site. Doesn't mean that they can't win, but like we said, doesn't mean they have to do things a little different.
Yaga up above, maybe trying to watch for some of those flanks to come through. It's just Ashen, actually, who's been left alone, and they will. No, Benja finds Adam instead.
Where the hell did he shoot him from?
It must have been that was a ridiculous vert angle. Jeez, Sam.
Oh my god! This is why I love Siege, because there's no other game in the world where you can just clothesline somebody from the basement to the 3rd floor. Get the hell out of here, dude. That is disgusting.
Ashen moves to kitchen. They know on SSG that it might not be clear. That's why they're not really moving through the map. They don't want to sit inside of Fireplace. Oh, and there's great Valk cams too. This could really open things up for Ashen to make a play.
That camera's been just so useful so far. That's how Benja got that kill as well, was that Valkyrie camera just sitting there and constantly pinging that player on the stairs. An aggressive swing, and Forrest is completely asleep at the wheel. Benja more than likely knows that better than anybody, that he's more than likely going to be shifting things back and forth with his hands as he's trying to get can openers and bees and everything else in between, but he's the only man out there, and now it becomes a huge issue. Oxygen, although this bomb site is very easy to take if you turtle, it's hard when there's a massive extension and you choose to not clear. It's very, very difficult. They think that they can get it all done if they grab Library, they grab Fireplace, but that's exactly what SSG wanted.
Getting a lot of these pushes, OXG don't want to take much map control. We've seen it in every single round so far. direct into solar, direct library into the site, now direct kind of only on the one fireplace side of the map, right? It doesn't feel like OXG want to go for full clears, and that's fine. Has worked out for them more often than not, but it does have its drawbacks. I really think it was just Benja too at the start of the round, taking things in his control. A stupid vertical angle to get the first kill, then a really risky play on the main breach. A lot of players would not be willing to go for that, especially at a man advantage. But Benja's not an average player.
No.
Benja's a ridiculous, crazy kid from Denmark who's come over to this North American team and is starting to show everybody exactly how Siege should be played. Loves to get in those aggressive spots so far this tournament too.
I mean, Jesse, it just shocks me so much that there's so many extremely talented Danish people in FPSs.
Yeah.
It's like they're the nicest people on the planet. Have you ever talked to a Dane? They're very straightforward, but they're just very nice. They're very cordial people.
They really
and
are.
you put them in a server and they're just a demon. It's terrifying, man. It's really, really scary. But Oxygen have to be feeling good about themselves right now. I know they only have 2 offensive rounds, but even if SSG complete this full cycle here, you still got a decent chance. We'll have to see, though. I mean, Chalet does tend to lead offensive-sided. What are we in common day? What's our percentage at? Probably like 55%?
Yeah, it's pretty close. I mean, it depends on what data set you're looking at, of course, but generally it's going to go a 50-50 attack for defenders.
Gotcha.
That's as far as most maps really go attack-wise once you look at a large enough sample size, but even still, with these teams particularly, they both do lean more defender. SSG have played this map many, many times, again 4 times. Oxygen have played it 3 times, and both of them have a higher defensive win rate than they do on the offense, so you might think this map should lead a little bit more defender-sided just because of the teams that are playing, but again, that changes on a given day.
Yeah, most definitely, especially just because of the circumstances of the map. That's why, for a long time now, we've referenced Chalet as more of an offender-sided map just because of how the angles play in towards the map. It can get really difficult to try and move around as a defender. And Oxygen have shown that time and time again, even on some more one-dimensional takes. What a find from New, though. And that's the one thing about this guy. He does not shy away from a gunfight. He doesn't care if he has an SMG and a 1X. He will find you, and he will kill you.
All 10 of these players know how to crank. I mean, there's no other way to really say it. SSG especially, though, when it comes to getting those early aggressive plays, they love to hunt for them. That's been the story all day long. I should note, through this entire best of 3, SSG will start on defense on all 3 maps. So expect to see a lot of this engagement where OXG maybe go for a bit linear pushes, but they're going with everybody together. Spacestation trying to swing aggressively to slow that down.
The time sink right now from Oxygen starting to become a little bit of an issue. Granted, they are still going for that direct Solarium take for the most part. Have those 2 bodies over here, getting that Master Window Repel in right now, and you can see that far player for Oxygen working his way over, more than likely to the bathroom balcony, just be able to help things out with that window as well as Piano. Can't always adjust as well, but as of right now, that seems to be the game plan for Grixer, as we're more than likely reaching crunch time. Adam's going to go down, though, and things starting to become more and more of an issue as ice is added to this wound. Such a problematic situation right now, and Forrest has been discovered down low as he tries to slip through the cracks.
His teammates are both outside the building and have both yet to find a kill this game, so it's going to be really tough, I think, for them to pull back this 3v5.
Yeah, the Solarium take just not really working out as they're almost required to clear out this top floor, Jesse. So much verticality works its way into kitchen, and you really just don't have a chance unless you are able to rid yourself of this top floor problem. That's why Oxygen have put so many ducks up here, but Forrest is finally going to be able to find something to try and work themselves back in. It'll be their first big kill, and Yaga with the equalizer here. A lot of things not expected, especially with so little time. The case is all the way across the map. SSG legitimately just needs to stay alive, and they have their first round here on Chalet. Forrest will go down. Another find from J90, and that should be it for round 4.
A little scary. I gotta give credit in the end there from Oxygen. When they were going for those pushes, they were going in different directions, right? They had one player pushing the site to try to get kills, a couple other players pushing above to try to get kills. They knew they couldn't plant. That wasn't going to be in the game plan, so just flood every area of the map, try to fight for it. I think it was never going to be a high probability win rate, but even still, I think they gave themselves the best chance that they had there. Really good attempt there, but of course, Spacestation, just too large of a man advantage, I think, to ever give that up, and then happy to just waste time, right? They never got over aggressive. That can be a real big problem with Chalet. When you're existing on that top floor, the window pressure is so strong that you can often wander into those angles and you lose your life. But there's one operator, Sam, that does make that a lot easier if you're a defender, and it's the one op that wasn't banned out in that first quarter. It's the Azami.
Oh, it's that one that has almost a 90% ban rate on Chalet, right?
Yeah, that'd be the one.
Oh.
That'd be the one.
Damn. Well, I mean, a little unfortunate when you really consider it, but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, Oxygen are still doing a pretty bang-up job of working around these Kiba barriers. It just so happens that this was the most problematic round when it came to a lot of different utility fronts for Space Station. You got the ice on the window, you got solid positioning over there, let alone that fact, but just the site selection there from SSG I really like as well, is they weren't really able to get anything conducive to success going on those other sites. So they change things over to Kitchen. They force Oxygen to play their game. Because like I was talking about in the round, you have to take that top floor, Jesse. If you don't take that top floor on the Kitchen bomb site, then we just kill you, and then that's the round. So they had to try and flirt with that a little bit. It doesn't work out. It goes the way of SSG, and they'll tie up the ball game.
Well, I'm going to count my chickens before they hatch and say I'm glad we're going to see a Ying come out for round number 5. They banned that Warden after round 3, and I thought, okay, we're going to see some crazy Ying plays. Didn't see it in round 4. Wasn't brought as an operator, but now 4 is going to try to take full effect of that operator ban. Playing with the shotgun, too, because why wouldn't you? Top floor will be the bomb site selected by SSG, so this is going to be an attempt from OXG to try to clear over and make a good push out of it. Instead of going straight for solar, like they did last time, they're going to go for the library side clear. There was a spawn peek by Newers, but it was droned out early. Nobody fell for it. Nobody tempted it. And with the second drone spotting him there, he is just going to fall off, choosing not to risk his life in a battle he probably would have ended up losing with that information advantage. So the right call from Newers, and we'll leave it to his teammates up above to try to lock down this library side.
Oxygen are probably going to take their time as they will do their due diligence in the information game. You can see things starting up over on the library side, but the big the big monikers here are going to be Yaga as well as Adam. You got that Deimos in as well as the Dokubi as well, just to try and get some information out here and assist this offense. A lot of time in order to do so, but the big thing is that they're really going to want to try and deal with these angles once again from Space Station. And Yaga will start us off positively perfect as he'll take out Newers.
Long
what
shot.
An angle, too.
Yeah, right on the bathroom window. That's a nasty one coming out from the Yog Dog. We'll get that man advantage now get going for OXG as they can now start to work even more picks with that. Beautiful vertical angle as well, pops the Mira and even distracts Ashton for just a second as he kind of lets them walk in right below him. He almost got timings there where he could have had a great opportunity to get a pick, but didn't quite find it in that situation. And so now this is still going to be a man advantage for Oxygen. Getting off his wall open is the next step, and they don't have a ton of time to do it, but they should have the tools. No, they're going to have to start using the Selmas on the floor.
Oh, he forgot it was closed, I think.
Yeah, Sam, he definitely thought that was a close mirror.
Yeah, that's mad unfortunate.
Oh boy.
As he gets dusted, and Oxygen finally finding some semblance of success after that last round. It was a little slow rolling there. Yeah, they're able to get that pick on New, but finally able to make some very considerate headway. What a round out of Oxygen as they practically just beat SSG over the head with a hammer.
Yeah, I mean, one pick can make all that difference, right? You will get that early player down, and then you are able to start working more with the util. I really thought the office wall could be a huge problem, because when you push in from library side, that's basically the only place that you can go in for a plant, right? When you're pushing master, you can kind of choose a couple different spots, but if you're going office, you really need to get behind that half wall. And to get behind the half wall, you really need to be able to open up the office wall, and that should be really tough with an electrical on a Tuberal, but well, the Tuberal goes down to the mirror window, which, whether he remembered that it was popped already or not, kind of irrelevant to the end result, right, Sam? He goes down to that angle being held by OXG. They work even more picks, and they take the lead back on Chalet.
Yeah. Yeah, that last round, definitely an interesting one for Space Station. Almost seemed like they just couldn't get out of their own way. You know what I mean? Just some very aggressive peaks. We have New back in the same window where he killed somebody else on the roof earlier. That's why Yogg checks that so quickly. Although, obviously also a default thing to do because people love that window as a spawn kill. But even past that, you see the situation go down with Ashen, as well as what we see a little bit later on with another aggressive swing coming out from SSG on that same bathroom window. So really just donating a lot to Oxygen's cause, and they're like, oh, we like charity work, so we'll take that round.
Well, Bar Games will be the next test and the final test here in the first half of Chalet. This was where we saw that ridiculous 1v2 clutch coming out from Adam. It was 7-0 to start this game. Now, falling off a little bit to 8-2 coming through, but even still, should be feeling confident as it goes into this final round on the offense. Oxygen are setting themselves up to go for probably a full map clear, not something that they've been really eager to do so far this game. But if they can start to work their way in through Master, then they can work a little bit more angles into this library hold, start taking advantage of some of the operators that they've got, including all the smokes they've been bringing in with the glass, maybe some of these sense wall plays too.
Yeah, it seems like they want to go for something that can chop up the side a little bit and make life a little bit easier down there, especially with the Warden off the board. You're always expecting things like that, right? You're expecting the Yings, you're expecting the Glazes, and everything else in between to work its way in, because, I mean, it just becomes that much more impactful when you don't have somebody with some special glasses that can see through everything. Some nades will pour in, great positioning here from Benja as a stun will come through too, but doesn't seem like they have anybody downstairs on the game window, so he'll count his lucky stars as he'll make his way back in towards bar stock.
A lot of angles being held again. Feels like OXG are fishing for a pick, and that's a strategy that worked for them last time. Got them that entry frag onto Newers. Yaga again, quite solo. Oh, what a play! Faults runs out from Wine, and he gets that initial kill on a Forest, taking out the glass. That's a really big for a player to take off the board. You remove the IGL, the captain, and now you kind of set your teams up in a way where they don't need to play as aggressive anymore, Sam.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about fishing. Sometimes you catch stuff, sometimes you don't catch anything, and sometimes the fish fight back.
Yeah.
As Fultz will run out the bottom door and quickly dispatch Forest. Probably feeling pretty good about that. That's IGL on IGL crime, by the way.
True. Well, this is just disgusting. Did you have a fault? No, nothing's disgusting for Adam, though. Adam says, give me a spoon. I'm going to eat that right up. Yum, 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 yum. Jeez.
I'll tell you what the solution is. Just walk. How about that?
Just walk at him, bro.
Just walk at him. Hey, sometimes that's really all it takes. And Adam, he's looked very solid, very confident in his ability so far. He's had some massive impact on this offensive side and rears that head once again here in round 6. Equal playing field. The map control going to be a huge thing here as Adam will dust yet another player.
I mean, what is it about this bomb site that just turns Adam into a different beast? Even when you're fighting somebody else, you gotta then check your back because you know Adam's coming. That's what Benj is watching for.
Fultz with the double kill now. Be able to discover something over here on this kitchen hallway side. Finds the sense. And that's going to be a triple kill for the IGL to wrap things up on round 6. SSG, cool, calm, collected there. As Oxygen just never really able to make any considerable headway, minus those picks that we saw from Adam.
It was weird. Adam was able to find the gap, but nobody else was able to really get anything going. I mean, we saw Yaga with a defuse kit on the top floor, able to maybe kind of try to push with the team you'd expect, but Gomez was then down below, ended up losing a gunfight over towards Fultz, who was coming back to that basement room he was playing. Grixer was outside on the window. Nobody on OXG was really together in that round, Sam, and so even though one player was able to pop off and have a couple of big, impactful frags, nobody else was able to win their fights. Nobody was able to get traded after those players went down. So it ends up being SSG tying things up at the half. And a different strategy when it comes down to the operator bans. Immediately, a zombie being taken out by SSG, feeling that it is worth a ban here on Chalet. And OXG saying, we are not fearful of your shields. We're going to start banning the hard breach, which might make things really, really tough.
Yeah, especially with Ace and Tabana gone, that's all the ranged hard breach. That does mean that you will be forced to get in the building to do any of this dirty work. And that dirty work has gotten a lot dirtier. You know, AC/DC said dirty deeds are done dirt cheap, but I feel like this is going to require a lot more than dirt. We'll see what SSG are capable of. We're not really going to have anything except maybe some can openers here for them on this offensive side as of right now. We'll see down the line if we see something like Thermite work its way in.
Well, Kitchen will be the first bomb site, and so hard breach, of course, going to go on that wall coming in from Fireplace. Right into Dining would be the most likely spot. Upstairs as well, an incredibly important wall to open up into office.
No can openers.
Really?
None.
Even on Ration. Oh my god, you're right. There's no hard breach at all. Okay, well, office wall will stay closed. Fireplace wall will stay closed.
Basically, just ignore everything we've said in the last 30 seconds.
Okay, Sam. I was a little bit concerned that OXG maybe weren't using those bans enough by not bringing like a Kaid or something, but no point bringing a Kaid if there's no hard breach anyways to even care about, I guess.
Yeah, well, seems like they want to just flirt with this top floor and see how much value they can get out of it. You're really looking for a lot of dislodgement here. That's why you got the bees at the Grim. That's why you got Capitalin with the fire arrows, and then Fultz will find one. As, oh, I always love when we see this kind of play on Windows. They knock out a couple of panels and are able to find a frag, but Oxygen respond in kind as they're able to take down 2. A great moment for them, and almost another great discovery from Adam, but it'll be Forrest instead to reclaim the Solarium Stairs.
Yeah, good teamwork between Forrest and Adam there. Working one above, one below, distracting one's attention, and then the other one goes on in. You saw initially how they were able to find value outside these windows. Now we stop swing if we're OXG. We got to calm things down a little bit. They got that initial pick from the window, and I was going to say, you know, that kind of comes down to the zombie ban. That's part of that, but once they actually had to get into the building, things got really messy. Faults to repel it on the shield after the smoke had come out. Really obvious play, really loud, and really exposes yourself when you're playing on that Blackbeard. So kind of an awkward entry. Now they'll get into the site with 2v3.
Oh, the bulletproof camera reading everything that Benj is doing right now. The case upstairs too. Fantastic play from Oxygen. They've completely abandoned the bomb site because that is no longer the objective. It's completely upstairs. And are we going to get a high-flying moment out of this from Forrest? I'm ready for it. Jeff Hardy? No? Yes? Might just be a straight delivery from the M590. We're about to find out as they continue to flirt back and forth. Pistol out, and it won't find much. Forrest still one pump chump it, and it'll be over as that man will fall down on Solarium. Fantastic shotgun as always, and a big kill for him.
Yeah, really good movement too on the smoke. I mean, you saw throughout that round, started kind of on the bottom floor, or on the main floor, I should say, inside a trophy. Then when his teammate called, hey, that's absolutely ridiculous. All right, never mind. Take the round away from OXG.
Okay, whoever is doing voodoo at their house right now for Oxygen, you need to stop. What is going on?
Okay, dude.
Did you hear the audio for that?
I did. Siege gives and Siege takes away, okay, Sam? That's the key takeaway.
Yes, sir.
End of the way, I just liked Forrest's movement there. Went up the solar stairs and committed to playing up at the top once the objective moved up there, too. Really shows the adaptability in a player like Forrest has been playing top-level Siege for so many years at this point, mostly with that SSG organization, but not exclusively, and of course has built up all that experience. Now can bring it to a team like OXG, which of course are an experienced organ in their own right, but have some of those less experienced younger players, mostly thinking about Adam in this case, where he hasn't really had as much time in Tier 1, where hasn't really worked on many of those big orgs that some of these other players have.
Man. That was quite the setup down there near the game's window, Jesse. There's one or two frost mats on the ground. I do believe it's one, but there's also 2 Goyo canisters sitting right next to it.
Lovely.
Yeah, that is just a house of horror right inside of that window. Not a place that I would want to exist. As Forrest will claim the top level. You usually do want a player here in library, as that hatch is so useful upstairs to play through.
Well, the site util will come later. Right now, it's quite an aggressive position. So many players over towards Master. You don't see this very often. Typically, defending teams will really pull things back to kind of the hallway to play inside of cases and play the mezzanine position, but Yaga has no fear. He says, I'm going to step up with Gomez and with Adam as well, who's playing just inside of office. Yaga and Gomez teammates for a long time on this OXG core. It's that chemistry hoping to be put to good use. They fight these window players on SSG.
Just for a split second there, Benji just second guesses where that enemy is running out from, but then finally lays eyes on Forrest over in the library balcony. SSG taking their time in this round, and why wouldn't you? Oxygen have been at your necks for the vast majority of these, or at least been in contention. Fultz will find a nice frag onto Gomez, but it's going to get a little bit more difficult, especially with this SMG up close and personal, but it's going to be the Bailiff. Man, Young is somewhere in the world right now, just a very sad boy after what happened to him in 2019 in Milan. Sometimes you gotta be blessed for that Bailiff to work, and this time it'll work out for Fultz.
Wow, that roam game really did fall apart quickly. Adam, the only one to escape with his life. He falls back to the library stairs, but you kind of think he's got to step up, make a play, or at least make a distraction so Forrest can make that play. He's taking a ridiculously aggro spot. That drone goes right past him, and it does see him. This should be an easy frag.
What a find!
Yes, it is. Great droning from SSG.
Fultz, the IGL, the triple kill, the do-it-all man. He is on top of the world right now as he is piloting SSG through round 8 with perfection. Yes, Ashen and Newers have went down, but Fultz has been able to pull this back into their good graces and is now looking for the potential opportunity to take this round away. Adam, though, with some stellar positioning. I love what we're seeing here, Jesse, over towards the main stairs.
Yeah, and time's really low, Sam. 30 seconds to get going, and I still remember those Goyo canisters and frost mats you were talking about in the site, so this is by no means easy.
No, not at all, but although you do say that, Benja just still have these fire arrows. We still have some dislodgement there with the Rotero drone if you want to commit that too. So some things still to be said by SSG as well, but it has to be said now. Adam goes for a swing. He's done. He's dusted. It's up to Grixer. He'll find one, and he knows how little time there is. J90 gets aggressive, and SSG, off the back of some high-caliber play from Fultz, will take the round.
J90, big finish at the end there. Also, the pilot of that drone in the mid-round that found Forest. So the player to credit with that information gathering, coming through big time, favoring Oxygen. They're favoring SSG, I should say, excuse me. Really nice comeback. And I mean, that was really not a round that I think was super simple for them. Oxygen provided a lot of problems. It was a 3-man extension. Then it was a rat play from Forest. Then it was a bomb site filled with util and a couple of players that could hit great shots and were in really tricky positions. But through every step of that round, early, mid, and late, SSG were composed. SSG were ready to tackle those problems. They look like SSG, just like they always do.
Yep, it's truly impressive stuff, especially for Fultz. I mean, this player's been with this organization for so unbelievably long and played practically every single role. Entry frag, flex, hard support, IGL. He's done it all, and it's truly impressive stuff, especially after his run back in the day with the C2 team Organized Chaos. It's the same team that had Merc as well, which was a very, very cool thing to watch them both come up and both be hammer lifters, of course. Fultz ended up joining SSG on May 27th, 2019, and he never really looked back. Claimed a hammer in 2020 with SSG. That's that hammer he got with Troy, and ever since then, he has still remained on this org, on this roster, and maintaining an insane level of play. I mean, truly a player that can do it all.
A franchise player. You could make the argument for it. I think no player really fits a team so much like Fultz does fit SSG. It's a great point. They're now just 3 rounds away, Sam, from making it to the EWC playoffs, securing that top 8 breath that some of their North American companions will not be so lucky to achieve. Already we saw Dark Zero eliminated from this tournament just a few hours ago, and then of course yesterday Shopify Rebellion punched their ticket into the top 8. So we've got one North America team locked out, one North America team locked in, and we're going to have one more in each of those categories by the end of the night. Now, will that take only 15-20 minutes, or are we going to be here for another hour and a half, 2 hours? That'll depend on the players and the server.
Well, what else could you want out of map 2, especially after what we saw from map 1? Newers a big swing here, and they got to get aggressive. Newers almost follows through, but the R4C for the first time in a long time abandons him on that second kill, although the other one will be found eventually from Ashen, and a good little giggle, a nice chuckle in the chat as well. Forest, he'll be lit up too. This could honestly be an even worse scenario if Newers was able to hit that shot. So Oxygen will probably just try and work their way back into this map. Granted, with their tail between their legs for the moment. This don't call out. I think he's going to be discovered here. He's not ready, and somehow, some way, Benja misses that.
How is he alive?
I have never seen Benja miss something like that in my life.
Oh my god. All right, listen, everybody gets one. We'll ignore it. They'll probably still win this round. Grixer can't do a whole lot from up here. They've reinforced Dining Hatch, which is a strat you see actually quite common when the clash is being brought. Otherwise, it's usually left open. But it really does limit the opportunities that Grixer can take. He's going to have to walk down West Main, which is not a safe way to get back to site. Forest still on the top floor, too. Site is literally just being held by a clash right now, Sam.
Sometimes that's all you need.
Well, they don't think so in Oxygen, so Grixer gets back there. I think a wise call.
Yeah, I would agree. I would most definitely agree. Given the circumstances of this round, this is not something that you want. They might have identified that Forrest dropped down the kitchen hatch.
Oh, yeah.
He's flirting with this back and forth. This is the most forest-coded thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Pop some rounds over towards us. He's trying to be a smokescreen right now. That's his entire job. He wants to waste time and try and find some big kills, but it doesn't matter, my friend. I'm so sorry, Forrest. You do the most on this floor to try and distract SSG, but there's just too many bodies, my friend. And they will start to put that case down low. There's a man holding the rotation for West Stairs, and SSG will snuff the round out.
There's a tack timeout called by Spacestation just recently, and I mean, you kind of wonder why, if they're starting to win these rounds, we get a tack timeout. Well, part of it might just be telling the teammate, well, how are Oxygen starting to play on these defenses? And it feels like SSG have an excellent read of how the game is going. Every single time it feels like Oxygen are going for an aggressive play. Spacestation are there understanding what the setup looks like and how to dismantle it. We saw that in the previous round where there was that 3-man extension towards Master. We saw it in this round where it was almost every player up above the bomb site with the sole exception of the Clash. And then once they realized it was just Forrest up above, they said, you know what, screw this Forrest guy. Let's go kill his teammates in sight. Did just that. Forrest all on the 1v5. What's he going to do?
Yep. Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, even Forrest more than likely knew in that situation exactly what was going to go on, because there was no way in hell that Fultz was going to call, let's run all the way over to Trophy and kill the Kaid. No, what a waste of your time. Just hold the rotation and get that case down. You force him to come to you. That's what you do in a situation like that. SSG obviously follow through on the notebook. This has been a story, I mean, written as long as time when it comes to Siege. So very well done from SSG to recognize the situation and follow through accordingly. Now they have garnered this lead once again going into round 10, looking to get to penultimate point here and now.
It's like a lot of Gomez praises on map number 1. I thought he was absolutely excellent. He was great yesterday, too. I'll mention it again. The best player in OXG on their first day of EWC, going 20-14, 2-8 here on Chalet. They need him to step up. Gomez turning it on now on Chalet in the final couple of rounds could make all the difference for an Oxygen comeback to complete this and send SSG to a third map to go to Nighthaven Labs. It's not easy, but Sam, if Gomez locks in, that could make the difference.
It really, really could be. I mean, when you start looking at these stats for these teams and you really start looking at exactly what he was able to accomplish across that first stage, it is really, truly impressive. A .8 KPR, he was plus 30 overall on his KD as well as plus 4 on his entry. Very well done from him throughout that stage, and he followed through with those initial games as well here. Just as Jesse was saying, the KPR actually even higher at this event, by the way, a .95, almost a guaranteed kill per round, unless you're on Chalet.
Yeah, that's going to really start to fall at this point. Gomez not really even having the success that he needs, and so this is where it kind of falls on his teammates, right? Can you get him back in the game? He's surrounded by him at the moment. Grixer, Yaga, Adam, everybody playing up above with just the captain left alone in sight. How common we see this. It's going to be a Monty push up to the top floor. Vault will start to open this up with a can opener, but there is not going to be anything on the other side. One Nitro being held by Gomez, which maybe could have tried to go for a play there, but instead, SSG get it for free, and they take even more free space with this Montaigne.
I absolutely love this from Space Station. Again, when you see that third band come in, folks, you got to pay attention to these off lineups because they will just start to pull off some of the most ridiculous stuff. This Monty plunges into the site. They find 2 off of the back of that pressure. Yes, Fultz goes down, but look at all the damage that SSG has caused to this defense. Frag grenade in, almost a find here from J90, but nothing doing at the current moment. They know where the last 2 players are now as they both drop into Trophy to try and hold down this bomb site.
Benja, 2K from the master window is ridiculous. Now you've got to find some kind of a miracle. You're full blind, you have no numbers, you don't have positioning. Time is good for attackers too. I mean, 0 advantage for Forrest and Adam, other than the fact that it's Forrest and Adam.
And really, what else can we do but watch? That's exactly what we'll do. No ideas, no opinions, no nothing. We all know what Oxygen have to accomplish. Are we in that timeline? That's the only question.
Stalling a little bit, Sam, but
yes, they are.
Still, again, lots of time to work with.
Yeah. I think it's just more of a respect thing at the current moment.
Yeah.
They know that they're over here near this trophy space, trying to set things up accordingly. That case is on Ash, and it seems like they want to go for the frag. So get Benja. They know where the last one is. A beautiful shot, but it won't matter. As Space Station, with that beautiful strategy, with that Monty on the top floor, will take that penultimate point.
And again, you get down to these chaotic, high-pressure situations, and Spacestation don't crack. Every single time, Spacestation seem to have their wits about themselves. There's a minute to work with. This is 2K again coming in from Benja.
No.
Easily could have been a third, as well as he played on that initial master window. That cannot be happening, but regardless, right? You come down to these late round situations, and with a minute on the clock, SSG, they don't rush it. They take their time because they have it and they can use it, reposition their players so that anytime they lose a fight, and they lost a couple of fights in that push, there's an immediate trade back. It's all well predicted. It's all put together for a reason. Spacestation, they don't stall when they use that clock. They're using it for a purpose. They reposition, and they get credit for it when they happen to have those trades. Oxygen now playing for their tournament lives here at EWC. We'll head to office and games for potentially the final round of the night.
A lot rides on this. 2 rounds, we go to OT for Oxygen. And honestly, I almost want it to happen. This has been a really good game going back and forth between these two, the adjustments we've seen. And the biggest one recently being SSG post-third ban on this offensive side, starting to bring that Monty back into play.
Yeah.
We were flirting with it for just a second here, but Fultz is going to instead bring in the Maverick. They want to make sure that they can try and get these walls open, and Ace and Habana are off the board. So just leaning into that, just to try and guarantee things, especially since you can work your way around, you know, ice or electrification.
Windows starting to get opened up. Again, you look at the top floor players being held, and nobody's too aggressive. Adam in office, but I don't expect him to fight anyone up over here. Grixer is taking damage. He's in dining, actually. Was a little bit extended from his teammates in the other direction. Roaming horizontally away from the bomb site and survives on 1 HP as he gets through the dining hatch, manages to make his great escape. Ashton holding a really tight angle in the glass, but will not get an opportunity to close it out, realizing that now.
Decently quiet across the map. You can see SSG are starting to make some headway. A goo mine in the foot of one of the players as they'll enter the building. Some nice crossfires being set up, as we always do talk about on Chalet. That is what makes this map so difficult to try and wrap around as a defender. And that's why you see people 9 times out of 10 just have a little bastion to set behind, just like what we see here on the library balcony. Oxygen, the big thing is now, be patient. You have to force SSG to get into this building so you can have some successful chances to take a gunfight.
The longer the time waits out, the more things favor OXG, but again, Spacestation, they use time for a reason. They're not wasting it, they're repositioning, they're getting this util out. Gomez has had his struggles this map, and we've talked about them, but he's in a forward position right now, playing alongside Adam there at the top of the blue stairs. This crossfire needs to be successful. There's no coming back if you lose these first fights.
Rotero drone.
They gotta push at some point.
Yeah,
Sam.
working their way in from Piano. That's a beautiful cross from Adam. I'm starting to get a little worried. It seems like they at least know some semblance of control still exists over here. The glass in and a beautiful find. Adam knew that there had to be the opportunity for them to try and swing. He'll pre-fire and find the head of that glass, but it'll be a trade at the end of the day.
It's a heads-up play. Expecting the smoke, and that must mean a glass. Yogg at top floor. He was the only one that didn't fall back, and he gets a kill.
And Adam will get one as well. A double kill on the round now. Space Station, this clock starting to become a massive issue as Oxygen's patience, it pays off. Every single parent around the world has to be the happiest ever, as we've all heard that one a million times. Oxygen, patience, and persistence is what gifts them that round and gets them one step closer to overtime.
Oxygen don't overextend, but SSG don't do much at all.
No.
So much of that round, I mean, yes, you take master, piano control, whatever. That wasn't really contested. Once you finally go for a play, it's read immediately by your opponents. The smokes, you thought they would take advantage for you, but instead, they gave multiple kills over to the defenders. One of them with Yaga on the Warden, getting a free pick from that smoke grenade, and then the other one coming through, of course, with that ridiculous pre-fire from Adam. So smart to come through from him and be able to secure that opening frag onto Ashton. Here we go, final round of regulation. Now Oxygen have brought it as close as they can. One more will secure overtime, otherwise they're going home, and that's going to be it. SSG, they're supposed to be the team that can play under pressure at all times. They've always been hammering that home. But that last round didn't feel like they were playing well under pressure, Sam. I mean, it felt like they were getting a little nervous and stalled out.
You know, I definitely think you can consider it that way. I think you can also consider, you know, the potential that they were just waiting for some big swing moments there from Oxygen, just really testing their mental and seeing if they were ever going to, you know, put that go fishing sign up and see if they could potentially catch a good old bass themselves, but obviously nothing doing on that front. And instead it's Oxygen that are able to win that out with that situation.
Benja on the Yana in 2025. This is one of the rarest operators you'll see in Siege. Almost never a reason to bring this up. Very impactless gadget, as you don't get a whole lot out of that clone that goes through, and not the greatest secondary util or guns anymore. Bringing smokes might be part of the reason why they want this operator, but don't have anybody else that really synergizes with that, so I'm not sure, Sam.
Yeah, she's really just operator with an ARX, especially if your name is Shaiko. Yeah, that's basically it. So we'll probably see Benji just trying to be more aggressive than anything, especially because, yeah, you can get some information out of the Yana. We're not trying to pull that away from her, but usually back in the day, she was just so beneficial because of her great guns, the frag grenades, and the fact that you could burn laser gates because people were addicted to those things. So just a different time of frame right now. She might work her way back in, or she could just have some big impact with that frag power here. The biggest thing is here for me, we didn't have the Deimos that we saw. Newer switched over to the Striker instead, and it's going to be Ashen on the shield here. SSG reaching into their bag of tricks on this potential last round.
First line charge being used, but it doesn't catch anybody. Force is making jump outs, but it doesn't actually make any difference. Rotates back in through the office, nice and clean. No, the rotate got reinforced over, so you're happy to get back on in. Once again, we're working with that heavy hard breach ban, and there are no hard breachers being brought on the side of SSG, so they will be desperate to find these picks. Otherwise, I mean, Sam, they don't have a great way into the site.
Jesse, I'm getting really nervous. Although I do say that J9O will finally get a kill onto Gomez. It was just taking a little bit of time here, but SSG will finally make a little bit of headway. EE1D will mark for us there for just a split second. The Monty will don the top of the stairwell in Solarium, so he will steer deeply into the ether of sight. A lot of different things that could potentially go on, a lot of different fluxes. So we do have the positioning now down low here from Benjamaster, and that is the real Benjamaster, not the drone. Finally, a nice kill coming back through as Fultz will be discovered and be dusted as well.
You didn't care that you killed Gomez, though. His last kill came in round 5. Careful Ashen on that shield. He's got to be able to play really smart with this operator. Benji on the Yana now in a good position to try to capitalize on that space that Monty's making. He will be heard as he sprints into bathroom. Does he know the guy's close left? It's Adam, holding an impact.
Well, does he have any impact? That's the real question. Force with the MP5, smoke in, and it's just going to make it mad awkward. He tries to take the gunfight off the information. I really respect that out of him, but it's going to be J9O to potentially end the round. Newers get the frag. The case is down. SSG carve everything out, and Oxygen are one man away from blood.